All right. Welcome, Hornet fans, to Hornets Live, presented by American Pop Pizza. We are happy to be back for another season and excited to have Coach Shook with us to give us an inside look into Hornet basketball. Now, before we get started, I want to say thanks to our friends here at American Pop Pizza for hosting us each and every week throughout basketball season. And it's nice to be back here after about a month's break since we were here before. So I appreciate you joining us, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. We've played quite a few games since then.
Yeah, just a couple. I think we had an exhibition game and that was it, or a benefit game, and that was it until since the last time we were here. So since then, if you haven't been paying attention, 12 games under our belts, 10-2 to start the season, and we're going to use this time just to kind of take a look back at how we got to 10-2, and just talk a little bit about this squad and some thoughts on where we are right now as a team and where we're headed, and we'll preview some conference play when we get back out of a break.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, we're 10-2. Definitely heading in the right direction. In our last show, we talked about the newcomers and things like that, and so it takes time for everybody to kind of start to figure out their role and get comfortable playing together and build that chemistry. We had some bumps in the road early on. Like I said, we lost one early to North Little Rock, which, I mean, pretty much everybody they played. I was losing to them. And then we had some games that were closer than they should have been. But over Christmas break, we went to Neosho, Missouri and played in the tournament.
We'll get to that in a second. I haven't shown you this whole lineup. But, we'll get there, I promise.
Yeah.
I put you out there too early. But,
no, it's fine.
But, so we opened the season, as you said, at our place with the Hoopin' for Hoodies tournament with matchups against Pine Bluff and North Little Rock. We split those two. And with the loss being against, like you said, probably the best team in the state, North Little Rock. A lot of teams are going to lose to North Little Rock this year. And I don't know, from my perspective, I know you and I talked about this a little bit, but maybe we came out in that game a little starstruck by all the 5 stars on the floor or the huge crowd. Obviously, really, the state tournament, we played in front of a big crowd. But these guys haven't seen crowds like this. Really most of these guys on this team haven't seen crowds like this because of the pandemic. And so what do you feel your team and coaching staff learned most about that team in that tournament in particular? I'm going to take you back a little bit.
Well, in the first game, beating Pine Bluff, now granted they didn't have, one of their starters, which is a key player, and that, that's going to hurt anyone, but they're a team in 5A that they're going to be competing for a state title, and to come out and we pretty much controlled the game the entire time. They really set the tone for us. And then, like I said, in the North Little Rock game, just, I don't know, like you said, maybe starstruck. First quarter was bad. I mean, it was. There's no other way to describe it but bad. But after that, we settled down, and we pretty much played them even the next 3 quarters. And I think that's what the team took out of that game was once we settle down and just play our pace, play together, trust each other, and everything. We're good enough that we can play with anybody. And so. I feel like if we had the opportunity to play North Little Rock again and weren't as starstruck the first time, that at the beginning of the game, I think, we'd be able to give them a good game. And, and even with that being said, no one likes to lose, especially not by 12, but 12 is really not that bad considering how bad that first quarter was, and how talented North Little Rock is.
Well, and of course, this is a time too where you're learning about your team. So every week, you don't want to take a lot of losses. Obviously, nobody likes to lose, as you said. But early in the season, this time of year, if you're going to take a loss, it's the time to do it because it's time. This is the time where you can actually learn from the mistakes you're making before you get into conference play when it really starts to count. So after that, we played in the V-Town Showdown with matchups against Little Rock Southwest and Valonia. Went 2-0 in those games. But to me, I think the one glaring issue you guys had to work on was being better defensively. Gave up an average of nearly 80 points per game in that showdown.
Absolutely. Southwest, they're still a young team. They're only in their second year of existence, and they're trying to play the way we do. They really get after people. They play fast. They try to press and all that. And we just decided we would trade baskets with them in that game. There wasn't really any defense played on either side. Fortunately, we were able to score a little more than them. And then, like I said, against Valonia, man, they at their place it's different. Mm-hmm. And I know you're going to talk about the Morrilton tournament in a minute, and it was evident how it was when we played them at their place versus playing them on the road. And they've got a major advantage playing at their place. And just like anybody, they shoot it well and. They're more comfortable, and just all the components definitely help them. And while, yes, like you said, the defense in that tournament or showcase was definitely lacking, we're still nowhere near where we need to be. But, you know, it's like I tell the guys all the time, we don't want to be playing our best basketball now. We want to be playing our best basketball in February and March. So,
well, I think when you look at it also, you're still early in the season at that point, 4 games in really. And if there's anything that you know this team can do, it's score. I mean, you've got plenty of that. You got plenty of scores. But one big piece of defense is learning team chemistry, knowing where everybody's got to be, whether you're running man-to-man or a different type of zone. You have to know where everybody's going to be. And maybe at that point, and even to this point in the season when we'll get to it, is you're in a position now where you're still trying to plug those pieces where they go, and everybody's learning their identity individually on the floor.
Absolutely. And, you know, we play a multiple defensive system. I mean, we obviously play man-to-man. We've got 2 different zones we have. We press with 3 different presses. So we've got a lot of things that we throw at people, and we're trying to constantly change, keep people on their toes. And so, it takes a while to get good at that many defenses, you know, whereas your traditional team that's a man-to-man team and that's all they do, that's all they practice, they're going to be better at it earlier on than we are at all the things that we do. So that's part of it too. And it's just, we've kind of been this way every year, and so we're just hoping that it's following the right trajectory. We'll hope that it keeps on that path.
So now after that, we headed to Morrilton for the Pettingen Classic, and speaking of offense, it started off with a bang, scoring a season-high 110 points in a matchup with Maul Charter. Now, obviously, Maul Charter, a 2A school, smaller school, but, 2A, that doesn't mean they can't play basketball. A lot of times the 2A schools can play pretty well, but a little overmatched on this night. But you had to be, 50-point victory to hold them to 60 is always a good thing. That keeps you in line with where you want to be. But 110 points in a high school game, I think I got a lot of holy cow. Did they really score 110 points? Yeah, that's correct. It was 110.
Absolutely, and like I think anybody would admit that that was there and saw it. It wasn't like we were trying real hard to get that. It was just like you said, they were overmatched. But I give Coach Sensabaugh a lot of credit. He said that he felt like they were going to be really good this year, and he said he wanted the matchup. He asked for it, and he said that he knew that playing us would be like any other 2A team he'll see, but he wanted his team's weaknesses to be exposed, and I felt like we did a pretty good job of that for him. And then I know I go to church with some of their guys, and they were telling me that they won their next couple of games after that they, I think it motivated them. So it's good for them as well. So. Well,
and any time you can step up in competition, much like playing North Little Rock or even the other 6A schools that we've played so far, you learn more about your team with playing teams with larger rosters, with a bigger playing pool to choose from. So you've got different types of athletes. But you had to be pretty happy with the results in Morrilton, obviously. Average margin of victory was 38 points in those 3 games. But I got to think, again, more impressive was the defense. Only allowed 55 points per game, including only 54 to a Valonia team that scored 73 against you just a week before.
Yes, sir. Like I said, anytime you play somebody twice, you're going to, as a coaching staff, you're going to make changes. You're going to make adjustments and everything. The players, if you lost, you're going to, be motivated to play hard. In our situation, we won the first game, but we knew we didn't play well. We felt like we left a lot out there that we could improve on, and the guys were locked in. The entire day leading up to it, the bus ride, pregame in the locker room, they wanted this one, and they wanted to show the difference, the gap, and so they did a really good job, like you said, locking in on both ends. Did a really good job defensively, and shared the ball well on offense.
Well, I think the impressive part to me too, where you could see more, obviously you could see in the points scored, but there were several moments in the game at Valonia where Deshaun Spence was able to kind of have a lot of fun and throw down some of his patented big time dunks, but you didn't see that at the game in Morrilton, where you guys were able to keep him more out of the paint, force him into jump shots and 3-pointers, and it really seemed to make a big difference in that game in terms of how that game finished out.
Absolutely, he's he's a phenomenal player. Exceptional athlete. He's going to be a good college player one day, and he really feeds off, and his team feeds off of the dunks and the highlights and things that he's able to do. And so that, like I said, the coaching staff got together and we said that's one of the things that we've got to work on. We've got to make sure we keep him out of the paint as much as possible, because it's one of those things where a dunk counts as 2 points, but really if it gets your team hype and you start playing harder, and it can lead to a lot more than that. And so if we were able to shut that down for the most part, and that was big.
So after that, we headed to after Morrilton, we headed to Conway for 2 games. And I'll just say it so you don't have to, but probably 2 of our more disappointing performances of the non-conference slate, going 1-1 against Cabot and Bentonville. But that included a 30-point loss to Bentonville in a game where we scored a season-low 48 points. Now, the only game all season that I've personally missed, the Cabot game, I'm going to let you go into that one a little bit. Obviously a W, got the win, but well below that magic number of 80 that you really want to play at. And I know we seemed to really, maybe it was the building, I don't know, but seemed to just shoot not very well in that showcase.
There is something about the Conway Arena. Against Cabot, we made 0 threes, and I can't remember a game where we've ever had that happen.
Yeah.
And then against Bentonville, we shot 11% from 3, which, again, that's almost 0, and so it's pretty bad. And and credit to both of those teams. They played really hard. They had scouted us. They played good defense and everything, but we also got a lot of open looks that just didn't fall. And I know the first game, that Friday against Cabot, I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but our free throw percentage, it was awful too. So it wasn't just the 3-pointers. It was a really poor performance shooting. And in both cases, it kind of led to, what you really hate. And some of the things that we talked about was our effort on defense went down, and it was like, if we're not scoring and we're not playing defense, it doesn't end well. And we saw that against Bentonville. And, and we've really talked, and we're going to continue to work on during this conference season about, your defense has to be there every night. You've got to play hard on defense. You can't only, you can't be a front runner. You can't only play hard when things are going well. You've got to play hard on defense the entire game, and let the chips fall, on the offensive end.
Yeah. I think we lacked some – you and I have talked about this a little bit, and I've talked to other folks, and there was lack of maybe ball movement, maybe lack of trying to share the ball, maybe guys just trying to do too much in a situation. But, you look back at last year, and there was a game, I think, against Bryant where you guys kind of got ran out of the building there.
Yep.
And that was – I don't know that I'd say it was a turning point, but it was a learning experience. You guys came back. It really never looked back after that. I mean, we obviously got into conference play pretty quickly after that game, a little more quickly because I think that was closer to the first of the year. But, again, you see these lulls, and I think, obviously, again, you don't want to lose. But in that situation, when you get into that point, you want to maybe see that lull now in non-conference because, again, you're learning how your team's going to respond. And if the great thing about that is not only did you have that kind of lackluster performance, but then you had a week for everybody to rest up, you get their minds kind of in a different zone with Christmas, with the holidays. And so after that, we had a really nice Christmas break before heading to Neosho, nice and relaxed for a big-time opportunity, really, if nothing else, to build some team camaraderie. And I thought we did a really good job of that in Neosho.
Absolutely. And, kind of – like you said, building off of the way we played in Conway, where it was a lot of selfish play, a lot of one-on-one. Of course, we talked about that at halftime and after the game in both games. And trusting each other. And, we had showed, we had individual meetings with every guy, during that break and, just kind of talked about roles and everything and showed them clips, film like, hey, you shoot a much higher percentage off a catch and shoot than you do off the dribble, or you do this better, or you defensively, and, just coaching them up or whatever. And I felt like it really paid off when we got to Neosho. That first game we played a team out of Memphis, very athletic team. They, they're young. They start 2 freshmen, and so and it showed. But they play hard and they get after you. But it was like 24, 25 assists in that game. Shared the ball extremely well. We had 5 guys in double figures. Matter of fact, we had 5 guys in double figures in all 3 games at Neosho. 3 of them were in the 20s in that first game. And what we told them was like, guys, look, this is the difference. When you play selfishly, you don't score as well, and we lose or are way closer to a team that we shouldn't be. Or when you share the ball, like, you can score 104 points. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, and I think Neosho obviously was a great opportunity to really showcase that. And you and I talked about that a little bit too, in that it's easy in basketball to go to try to play an I game instead of a team game because you can show out. I mean, and if you're head and shoulders above others, you can really show out as an individual in playing an I game. But if you play as a team, and especially in this system that you guys run, if you play as a team, everybody's got an opportunity. And that really showed out. I mean, like you said, you had 5 guys in double digits every night in the Neosho. I mean, you had guys, Riley Wade scored in double digits in one of those games. Nico, goes for 20 and 10 throughout the tournament. Colby gets his. Carl gets his. I mean, everybody really got their piece in there. And then you add to that a guy like Maul, and we'll talk about that in a second, but the numbers were there for everybody. Absolutely. On top of that, another 100-point game, and I think it was kind of the story in the Neosho from day one. I was sitting there. It was funny. None of the media people knew who I was because, of course, we're all new, and I'd sat at the table the whole time. And I think I guess it was Neosho. The host team was actually playing in a game, and so a lot of Missouri media folks showed up. As I'm sitting there, 2 of them were talking to each other, and he said, "Man, did you hear about that Maul game this morning? Those guys scored 104 points." And he said, "Those aren't high school kids. Those are high school kids on steroids scoring those kind of points." So yeah, I mean, it was just it was kind of the story of the tournament there early on, and it was a lot of fun. Now, from a defensive side point, though, just sidebar that a little bit. Obviously, Mitchell, they came out hot in that game. They played well. Maybe we had some moments where we were a little lackadaisical against defensively, but again, this is a team that barely scored more than 89 in their next 2 games combined. Yeah. So maybe a little bit of disappointment there on the defensive side. But is that easier to do, too, when you're scoring 100 points and everything's going right on offense?
Well, and it's kind of – I mean, there's definitely some learning points. The main thing being we would get up 17 or so, and then we would be like, all right, and then they would – and they were playing hard the whole time, credit to them, but our effort on the defensive end went way down. They'd cut it to 10 or 11, then all of a sudden we'd turn the pressure back up. We'd get it back up to 18 or 19, and it was almost like the kids were kind of toying with them. But at the same time, I mean, if we weren't giving up those amount of points, they wouldn't have scored 104. Right. And so it is what it is. For me, the thing is I know we're capable when we lock in and do it. It's just getting them to have that killer instinct all the time, to always be locked in. I mean, obviously, yes, it's fun to score 100 points, but it's okay to score 85, and hold them to 50 or whatever. So,
which is basically what you did for the rest of the tournament. I mean, so in the semis, we get a familiar foe as Arkansas really dominated things in Missouri. 3 of the 4 semifinal teams were Arkansas teams, in Morrilton, us, and Mills. And so in the semis, we get a familiar foe in Morrilton, a team that we had seen at Morrilton but didn't play, and of course Hog signee Joseph Pinion. And this time it seemed like you guys were a bit more locked in, especially defensively, in a 77-55 victory.
Yes, sir. We've played Morrilton every year. Coach Zach's one of my best friends in the coaching industry or whatever, and he does a tremendous job with his team. They're always well prepared. They always play hard. But he not only did he graduate 3 starters, but then the next 4 guys that played and would have been starters this year, all for one reason or another aren't there now. So it was pretty much Joseph and then guys that had never played before. And they played their tails off, and they played extremely hard, and a lot of credit goes to them. But I think having the, Razorback signee out there and everything, that's always going to get the guys motivated to want to play a little bit harder. Now, to his credit, and I'll be the first to admit, prior to this year, I knew Pinion was a really good player, but I didn't know how good. He made me a believer that night because after the first quarter, once we realized we couldn't guard him one-on-one, we started sending double teams at him, and he was still scoring. Yeah. So he's a phenomenal player, and hopefully he'll have a lot of success up on the hill.
And not to get off on a tangent, but he makes it look so easy. Yeah. Like everything he does just looks easy. He had a couple of dunks in the game in the 3rd place game, and or one big one, and it's effortless for Pinion when he's on the floor. He's a lot of fun to watch. And of course, we finished things up in the Neosho in the finals against another familiar foe in the Mills Comets, PCSSD school. So congratulations, PCSSD, for loading up the finals and taking care of things in Missouri. And really one of the better games of the entire tournament, and you would expect it being in the championship game, in a game that was tied heading into the 4th. We ended up winning at 84-73, really aided off of a 14-5 run to start the 4th quarter. And so a great finish by your squad in the Neosho to get the Holiday Classic championship.
I appreciate it, yes, sir. And like you said, I felt like we played a lot better defense in that championship game. And we watched Mills play Lafayette in the semifinals, seeing who we were going to play. And that's all we talked about was how hard they play on the defensive end, and that was all we talked about. We said we know our offense is going to be okay, but our defense we've got to match their intensity, because if we don't, we're going to be in trouble. and I was really proud of the guys. I felt like the first quarter, it was almost like they were weighing them out, and Mills beat us to some 50-50 balls that, I was a little upset with our guys about. But after that, second quarter on, I mean, they were locked in. We were getting all the loose balls. We went from being like tied on the rebounding battle to kind of dominating the rebounding battle after that. Yeah. And it made a big difference when, like I said, it's all about our effort on defense. If we play hard on defense and we share the ball on offense, I think we got a chance to be pretty good.
Well, Mills is a very pesky team. They're missing obviously their best player in Javion Guy King. Unfortunate situation there. Hated to see him go down in Neosho, but they're a very pesky team. QJ King is a really good guard. Jabray Shaw, another really good guard. Kendrick really had a good tournament. I'd seen Mills play in Conway, and Jonesboro really shut them down. I think they scored like 38 points or something, 35 points against Jonesboro in like a 45-35 game. But you didn't see guys like Kendrick had open looks, and maybe it was Conway, maybe it was that arena. People just weren't making shots. But Kendrick couldn't seem to miss, and it wasn't just against us. It was in the entire tournament. That was a guy that didn't make the all-tournament team that I was a little surprised by because I thought he had a really good tournament, but as did QJ. And so that's a very pesky squad, and I think even without Javion, that's a team that's going to make some noise in 4A again this year like they had the last couple.
Absolutely, and I was talking to Coach Cooper before, and he said they're really young. I think Javion and I think one other kid are their only seniors, and I don't think the other kid really plays. So he's playing all underclassmen. They'll all be back next year, and so they're going to get a lot of experience this year and definitely be in the hunt this year and next year.
Well, we loaded up on awards, and so before we finish up this segment, we did load up on awards there in Neosho, and I want to take a minute to just congratulate all our guys who were recognized. Our all-tournament team selections were Nico Davillier, Carl Daugherty Jr., Colby Garland, and with Nico being named the tournament MVP. So a huge congrats to all those guys. You got to be proud of that.
Absolutely, big time. They were only giving everybody one all-tournament team player, and then of course the champion got the MVP, and they came to us and they said, man, we can't decide which one. Like we're going to give it to both. I hope you're okay with it. And I was like, absolutely. I'm like, of course, that'd be great, And so I was really excited. That was big time.
Well, and another guy that I talked about him a little while ago, but another guy that if there was an honorable mention all-tournament team or a second team, a guy that would definitely have had to been on that was Jamal Summons. Maul may have supplanted himself as that glue guy. I think I've seen a couple people use that term, but who comes in and just takes advantage of every second he's on the floor. He averaged 12 points and 4 rebounds in the Neosho, and so for me, he's definitely an honorable mention for all-tournament team, but had to have been happy with what you got out of Maul in this tournament too.
Absolutely, and Maul will be happy to know that he earned himself more playing time come conference play. So if we can get that Maul night in, night out, that's going to be a tremendous help for us.
Absolutely. All right. So that's how we got to 10-2. Now, coming into the season, one major question was how this team would gel and figuring out the chemistry of this team. And I have to think that Neosho, and we've talked about it a little bit, but I have to think that Neosho was a golden opportunity to get a gauge on where this team is in that regard.
Absolutely. When you spend 3.5 straight days together with no time apart, I mean, you're in the hotel, all your meals are together, you're at ball games, locker room, bus rides, everything. You don't have a choice. I mean, you just get closer that way, and I feel like it showed on the court. Some of the bus rides and meals, like I said, they were really enjoying each other's company and just, growing in their friendship and their trust. We use that word all the time, trusting the coaches, trusting your teammates, trusting yourself to make the shot, things like that. And I think we definitely grew in that category. Yeah. Before we go to break, I do want to, if you're okay with it, give recognition to KT for winning the dunk contest.
Yes.
And Riley Wade for finishing second in the three-point contest.
Yeah, I'll rib Riley here in a minute. We'll have him up on the next segment, but I'll give Riley a hard time about finishing second to Joseph Pinion. But, big time. It was a lot of fun. And if you haven't seen the video yet, you got to go back and see the video of KT's dunk. That was a lot of fun. I don't think I've actually finished up and posted the one of the 2 dunks, but good stuff. I've also got some of Riley competing in that three-point contest. It was a lot of fun. That was a really neat situation. It was cool to get to watch the guys go out there and do that. And it was funny because I think I'd asked you the day before. I was like, I said, we have anybody doing it? He's like, no, just Colby and Riley doing the three-point. I was like, KT's not doing the dunk contest? Of all the guys that I would assume would have done the dunk contest would have been KT. Or maybe Nico, with his run-out dunk that he had. But we'll talk about that in a minute since he was too scared to do the dunk contest. But that was a lot of fun to watch. It was cool to see those guys compete. And then KT comes to me right before, and he's like, hey, should I do the dunk contest? I'm like, yeah, you should do the dunk contest. Go do it. Let's go see the AD and get you in this thing. So
Absolutely.
I was glad he got to do it, have a good time, and enjoy it. So we're gonna take a break here in just a second. But Coach, make sure you get you some of this. We did the chicken bacon ranch tonight,
Awesome.
So it smells really, really good. You guys make sure you come see our friends at American Pie Pizza here at 9709 Maumelle Boulevard. Again, they've been fantastic to us. Tamsy's been a partner with us at Maumelle Sports Network and Natural State Sports basically since the beginning, and we're really appreciative of them. So, Coach, I want to say thanks for joining us to recap the non-conference slate. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be joined by seniors Nico Davillier and Riley Wade.
Sounds great. Thank you.
So Colby going to bring this one up. Mills leads early 2-0. Now Colby driving to the basket. Yes, sir. Colby Garland lays that one up and in. Now Colby pointing things out as he gets guarded to the corner. Now Colby, jumper, shot up, got it. Now Colby inside, Nico. He'll go up. Nico up and in. Nico down. Colby inside all the way. Lane shot up and good as Colby Garland's in his bag. The tip around, he got it. Nico's going to clear. Got KT ahead. Now KT pushing. KT into the lane. A lot of contact. Shot up and one. Yes, sir. As Caleb Thurman puts it up and in. That one no good. Offensive rebound. Now Nico clears it.
Got it.
Nico fighting inside as he gets it. Colby wants to work through Nico. Nico inside to the block. Shot up off the backboard and good. Nico Davillier puts the basket 4-on-4. Gets it across as KD is going to settle things down. Gives it inside to Nico. Nico shot. Jumper up. Got it. Nico Davillier quickly up to Dex. Dex stop. Little short jumper. Got it. Dex right knocks it. He'll try to give it inside as Nico looks to work. Nico to the block. Spin move. Up off the basket and good. Nico the Predator Davillier puts that one up and rolling. Now KT he'll shoot the three. No good. Dex chases the rebound down to Maul, and Maul puts it up and in.
Wow.
Looking for Maul. Maul caught it somehow. Goes up and no, wouldn't go. Carl with the rebound. He puts it back up and in. Carl Daugherty pushing. Carl gives it away to Maul. Maul with a little scoop and up and in. KT, he looks, tries to drive around the screen. Nothing there. Gives it Colby.
That one's going.
Three up. Got it. Yes, sir. Colby Garland knocks down the three.
Time to get zero hot.
Get the guard check going as Carl drives. Shot up. Got it. That'll maybe get Carl going. Is he not?
Go up.
Colby. Oh, I thought he was going to take it. He's going to drive anyway to the elbow. Shot up and good.
Makes it good.
Shot there. Gives this one to the corner. Nico, not a shooter. Shoots that one. He's a shooter now. Nico, the Predator Davillier, knocks down the three.
Nico, not a shooter, Predator.
Double-double. Now Carl quickly. He'll pull up three. Yes, sir. Carl Daugherty Jr.
Found it.
Driving, that's King all the way to the basket and rejected by KT, and he had it taken away though. Shaw now rejected by Daugherty.
Daugherty. He took an awkward slip.
Now inside to Nico. Nico shot up off the backboard and good. Nico, the Predator Davillier, just keeps it. Now inside, nice job. Wade gets up, puts it up and in, and he'll go to the Acre Pharmacy free guard shack as he gives it away to Summons. Summons cross-court pass. Nice little dump off. Rod got a lot of contact. Put it up and in. Should have had the and one. Dribbles. He's guarded by Rowland. Now gives it away to Carl. Now Wade on the little motion. Wade inside. Shot up and got it. Riley Wade lays that one up and in. The play Hornets take that.
I wonder if it's me or just out of breath. Maul
Summons. Look
for
at
it.
Summons with a strong up and off the backboard for the. Now inside, Colby, a lot of contact, no call, and Hornets get it in. Who made the basket? Was it Darvis?
Darvis? Where's he
three, Wade, and got it! Riley Wade knocks down the three. What's the call? Looks to drive across court. Wade thought about it. He'll drive to the basket. Wade up off the backboard, and good, and he'll go to the line to complete the and one. Great job to go to the hoop. He'll give it to Nico. Nico, nice extra pass. Summons puts it up and in. Has to get rid of it to Daugherty. He does. Now Daugherty, short jumper, shots off. To the left. Summons, rebound, puts it back up, and one for Jamal Summons. Go cross court. Dex thought about it. He'll drive into the lane. Shot up, off, no good. Daugherty puts it back up and in. Carl Daugherty comes away with a 10-point game. Garland driving to the inside. Gives it away to Summons. Jamal Maul Summons puts that one up. It's napkins. All right, welcome back to Hornets Live from American Pie Pizza. Be sure to come by and see our friends here at APP for lunch this week with daily lunch specials located at 9709 Maumelle Boulevard. So joining me now, and I owe you a shirt, is our underdog player of the game once again from the Mills game, Nico Davillier, as well as senior Riley Easy Money Wade. So welcome to the show, fellas.
What's up? How you doing?
Make sure Will's got everybody unmuted over there. Everybody unmuted? All right. So we're going to start things off with Nico first, since you're a veteran to the show. Nah. So we're going to come to Nico first because you're the veteran. So I've said it several times, whether it be on broadcast or other people, but I think our biggest – now, you may blow this up with what you just told me when you sat down, so you may just screw all this up. But our biggest recruiting win of 2021 was convincing you to come back for one more run at a state title with the squad. Tell me what went into that decision and why you ultimately decided to come back and play some basketball.
Well, first off, I asked Coach Pittman to talk it over with my parents, and they was like, yeah, you might as well play. And then when Pittman said I might as well play, and then the players convincing me, y'all convincing me, it all just fell in line when Pittman said, yeah, you might as well.
Talk about that conversation with Pittman, because I know we had a little bit of conversation with him. Some other folks do when he was in town for the ball game, and I know a big part of that conversation was he encourages you guys. Yeah. To compete for championships, because he expects you to compete when you get on the hill. So whether it's basketball, football, baseball, it's whatever sport it is, he expects you guys to try to compete for championships.
Yeah, he just was saying he wanted me to, a two-sport athlete, just keep doing what I was doing in high school and just come up there and just be ready to compete. That's all it is.
Well, if anything, you're going to be in good shape running up and down the floor. You're going to be ready to play. It's like having a spring camp when you're not there. So I'd say so far it's been a pretty good decision. Currently averaging 16.6 boards per game, and coming off your best three-game stretch of the season in the OSHA where you averaged 20 and 10 on the way to tournament MVP. How do you feel you've played so far this season?
I've been playing all right. I think I could do better for my teammates, pass the ball more, get more rebounds every game, and just be a better team leader.
As a senior and kind of a player-led team, is that a big part for you, is to really be that leader, that voice on this team of guys that, you've got some new faces, you've got some returning faces?
Hold on, keep wow. Can you re-ask the question?
All right, so is that a big part of it, is just being a leader, just being a leader for this squad?
I think that's one of the biggest parts, just because Coach Shook and all the other coaches, they want us to speak up, speak to our players, tell them what they did wrong, tell them what they need to fix, and it's all just player-led, and the coaches step in when they need to step in.
So looking at this team, it's obviously a very guard-loaded team. You got this guy here, Carl Daugherty, Colby Garland, Dexter White, guys like that. Roderick Watts, a guy comes from football. You got plenty of guards. I know I'm forgetting somebody that's going to be really mad at me at some point, so I'm just going to shut up. But what makes that group of guys so special, and how much fun are they to play with?
I say it's very fun to play with them guys, just because of the speed and just the enthusiasm they play with, just trying to get the ball, trying to get to the ball, pass the ball, just play as a team, and just the chip on their shoulder, trying to get an offer, just playing hard every game. And
that's a big goal, trying to get these guys as much exposure and notice as we can. I mean, obviously, your future's set, but we guys like Riley Wade, he's looking for a place to play at the next level. Colby, Carl's set. He knows where he's going, but got plenty of guys here that have an opportunity at the next level. So good to hear you say that and know that these guys are really pushing to try to be the best that they can be, and knowing that if you guys follow the system and you guys stay on each other, that those opportunities are going to come.
Yeah.
So second game of the season. Basically one full basketball practice after coming over from football. How much fun was it to go out and score 25 points against probably not just one of the better players at his position, but a guy that's just crazy unique? And I know you didn't score all 25 on him, but very unique guy in Khalil Ware to be able to go up against and have to face off with him after basically a day of playing basketball.
I didn't know I scored 25 until after, somebody had came with me and said, you just had 25. I was like, no, I had 17, and it was just mind-blowing to me, actually, because I wasn't expecting to go out there and just drop 25 on one of the best players in the country. But my teammates gave me the ball, and I tried to break his back.
Hey, if they'd have called fouls, you might have scored 35.
We might have.
You might have too, yeah. So what are some of your goals for this season, just team and individual?
Team, I would have to say, help my teammates get the offers they deserve, find a place to play basketball at the next level. I don't really have any personal goals because I wouldn't really go
Or even thinking of
play
playing,
for
yeah.
it. Yeah, but I'd probably say another team goal is to win a ring. I want to go to the hill with a ring.
Yeah, that you can't take that big old trophy with you from Neosho. You're gonna have to. Yeah. And since you wouldn't play in the dunk, when you do the dunk contest, you don't get one of those little trophies either. So what do you love most about playing the game of basketball?
I think basketball still my favorite sport, but it's not. But it is. It just, I don't know. It just, I've been playing since I was little, so everything just, it just unconditional. I don't know.
You know, it's funny. I had this talk with my wife, and I think maybe even Andy a couple of times. Football is a sport that I love. I mean, now baseball is what I played, and I love baseball. But football, obviously, it's easy to love. You live in the state of Arkansas. If you're an Arkansas fan, obviously you know what that means. And so following football is easy, especially here. But, you know, the state of Arkansas is a pretty good basketball state. There's a ton, as we've seen, there's a ton of basketball talent. Basketball is probably one of my most favorite, and Andy and I have talked about this, probably my most favorite sport to call, just to get up and broadcast, because and especially with you guys, because now, you know, some teams like to slow things down, play stall ball. You guys are up and down the floor, nonstop.
We like to run. We like to get out in the open, get fast breaks. That's why we run a lot in practice. That's the reason right there.
Well, it pays off because, I mean, you know, I joked with you about this, but I think a few of us thought about this. When you dunked that ball in the Osho in that first game, I don't know that anybody expected that. I don't even know if you guys expected that because we were all like, oh, he's just going to go lay it up. And out of nowhere, Nico just throws it down. Like,
I had to because that was my only opportunity. I told them I was going to get a dunk this game, so I had to just go for it.
It was nice. I got to give you credit. I'm really disappointed that old boy didn't turn the camera up there because we'd have had a highlight for you.
I seen it. It's all good.
See, if they should have just asked me to do camera. We could have brought her. I mean, at least we'd had a camera person doing it.
That's what I'm saying. We need y'all at every game.
Every single. Hey, we've only missed what, one? I guess two technically in the Osho, but you know, anyway. So, all right, Riley, let's turn to you, my guy. So, the original easy money or easy money Wade, as you want to let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. So now this season didn't begin how you wanted personally, and I would assume as you have been rehabbing ACL tear since just after the state finals last season. So how's the knee feeling?
Knee's feeling a whole lot better than it did about 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, I bet. So talk for a minute about your rehab. How's it gone? How tough's it been? And just how great did it feel to finally get back on the court against Bologna?
I tore my ACL back in May, had surgery in June. Right after surgery, the next day, rehabbing. It hurt for a couple months. Then it just started getting better and going from there.
So as far as timeline, you may have came back maybe a hair earlier than some folks expected. You got back in that Bologna game. What it was like. Now, you and I talked about this a little bit in the post game of that Bologna game, but talk about that feeling of finally just being able to get back on the floor.
It's just a feeling that I've been feeling for a long time, been waiting to feel. I mean, I got back on the court. I really couldn't believe it because I really wasn't supposed to be on the court till like the next week or the week after. So to be able to get back on the court, it felt really good.
So I know talking to you after that game, the biggest question for you and really anyone coming off ACL surgery is trust in the knee. Mentally, where do you think you are with that?
Like I told Andy earlier, I'm not going to lie. Neil showed the first game, I was fighting myself mentally. But the second game, and then I got in Mills, and I just turned it on out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw some of that confidence coming out in the Osho, and especially in that finals game. I think we finally got to see you driving to the basket, more aggressive on the floor. You had two good drives where you were able to get an and one out of one and get a bucket on another one. And so at that point, how did it feel to know that knee's going to hold up and that you can trust being able to make those more aggressive moves?
I think now that I went back and watched film this morning, I think since I watched it and I figured out mentally that I can go, I just turned on the switch. I've been trained yesterday, 100%, boom, we going. So I think the next 2 weeks, y'all better watch out.
How difficult is it though to get comfortable, especially in that brace? So you've got does it limit anything? Do you notice it? Does it bother you at all?
Like I was talking to my daddy last week. when I first put it on, it felt normal, but as I got to going with it, I could tell it was weighing me down a little bit, so I started walking with it, jumping with it, just having it on normally, and it feels normal now.
So we talked about this a little bit with Nico as far as playing with all this talent at guard. What do you bring to the newly dubbed Guard Shack, as Andy and I have called you guys?
I bring the leadership. I can shoot the ball from literally anywhere on the court. I can get my teammates open, make a play.
So you can shoot from anywhere on the court, but let's talk about what happened in the finals. Were you starstruck by your buddy Pinion over there? Is that it?
You talking about the shooting contest?
Yeah.
My mama told me I should have went first instead of letting him go first, because I hit 9 the previous time and then he hit 9. I should have went first. I probably would have hit all of them. So.
What are some of your goals for this season, team and individual?
Team, I want to win conference and, go on and win state. Individually, just keep my mind right, keep my knee right, and just go from there.
So same question I asked Nico a minute ago. What do you love about playing the game of basketball?
Playing the game of basketball, I think, got me through so many things in life, tough things, And when I touch the ball, it's literally like just me and the ball, and I just forget about everything when I'm on the court.
So you guys, and this is kind of for both of you. You guys heard me talking with Shook. I know that the opportunity to go play in Neo is a little different. In football, we got to go down to Shreveport, but it was a down there and back. So the only team bonding, as you want to call it, was on the bus ride there and the bus ride back. So in this situation, you guys got to have a lot of fun. This coaching staff is great in allowing you guys again to be player-led, to trust you guys, and to make sure you guys are going to make the right decisions, no matter where we are. How big was it for you guys as a team to have this opportunity to go, spend that much time together, and really bring you guys together as a team?
I think it made the first game a lot easier because we been around each other. I think it just brought us together as one the past weekend, just being together, sleeping in the same rooms, just being around each other for them 3 days and 4 days. Everything just felt like it was clicking.
So, and from your perspective, obviously, it's probably something that you're a little more used to with travel ball in the summers, where you guys go to out-of-state tournaments and have this opportunity. Did it kind of have that feel a little bit, where you were able to kind of team build and get to play the game and have some fun?
Yes, sir. I mean, we were in the hotel rooms. Our favorite spot was the jacuzzi, so.
It was nice. It was nice. I can only imagine if that outdoor pool area had been open, we'd all been in trouble.
Too cold.
It was too cold. But give them credit, that outdoor area was really, really nice. And I won't talk about the 2 o'clock in the morning screaming and yelling I heard, but, so I was on the same freaking floor and hall as you guys, Coach. No, I'm just kidding. I'm lying, Coach. It didn't happen.
Coach, he's lying.
Don't make them run tomorrow.
That wasn't us.
That was a
It was
lie.
not us.
That was that other team. It wasn't KT at all.
That was
promise.
Mills.
All right, guys. Well, I want to say thanks for joining us tonight. I look forward to seeing you both tomorrow night for our final non-conference game before conference play begins. When we get back, we're going to be joined once again by Coach Shook to preview the conference slate.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Appreciate it.
The most exciting play in basketball is always the slam dunk. That's when the crowd goes wild. Most people probably don't think about a mortgage process being like that. It's really sad because buying a home should be exciting. And that's where at Cornerstone, we really focus on the game plan, because we want to make sure that your home buying experience is exactly that. It's a slam dunk.
With Cornerstone Home Lending, you always have the home court advantage. Visit loansbydio.com to get started.
American Pie Pizza is the place to be for the best pizza in Central Arkansas and an inside look at Maul Hornet athletics. Join us every Monday beginning January 3rd for Hornets Live with Coach Shook at 7 p.m. and enjoy Wing Mondays, 89-cent wings from 4 p.m. to close. Plus, kids eat free. Cheap wings, free food for the kids, and an inside look into Hornet basketball. You got no excuses to not join us, so get out to 9709 Maumelle Boulevard every Monday starting January 3rd. And don't miss out the rest of the week, whether it's $2 Tuesdays for $2 off your favorite 14-inch pizza or one of the great daily lunch specials. Make American Pie Pizza your go-to for lunch or dinner this week. And be sure to ask your server about the American Pie red envelopes and how you could get up to $50 on gift certificates this holiday season. Located at 9709 Maul Boulevard, or order online at ampiepizza.com.
My name is Brandon Aker. I'm the owner and pharmacist here at Aker Family Pharmacy in Maul. So here in our pharmacy, we like to focus on a hyper-personalized relationship with our patients, and that continues into our service sets. So we offer free delivery, curbside vaccinations, as well as custom compounded medications, including extended hours as well. I think you don't know the level of intimacy that you're going to get with your patients until you really get in it, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
All right, welcome back, Hornet fans, to Hornets Live, presented by American Pie Pizza. And joining me again is the head coach of the Maul Hornets, Michael Shook. Welcome back, Coach.
How you doing?
Good. Had a good chat with our fellas there. I appreciate you getting Riley and Nico here, and I appreciate them for joining us. Before we go into, I do want to say a big thanks to you guys as a coaching staff, but and the folks in the O Show for being so accommodating for me and us as Natural State Source being able to be there and get the stream on Thursday night for the game, but just being able to come up and really interact with you guys and have a good time and kind of be a part of what you guys are building right now. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. We, as always, we appreciate all you guys do for us and for the kids and the exposure you guys get and everything. And I was really happy that we were able to get you a room and enjoyed the bonding that we were able to have, in the away from the camera and the court and everything, and just be able to relax and be ourselves and have a good time. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that as well.
It was good. So, all right, so we talked plenty about the past and how we got to 10-2. Let's chat just some about what's upcoming. First, a date in Whitehall with the Whitehall Bulldogs tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. We'll finish up conference or non-conference tomorrow. Whitehall's a really good young team. Their best players, the coach's son, Coach Hayes' son, freshman. He's probably, 6'6", 6'7", really, really good guard. And then they've got good pieces around him. They got a couple kids that can shoot it really well. They got a couple, a little bit of size inside. And they're battle tested. They played in the what was the one in Pine Bluff? King Cotton. They played down there. Played some good competition. They played in the Hooping for Hoodies at our place. We got to see them there, and so their record's not great, but they're definitely battle tested, and I expect them to do a good job in the 5A South.
I was going to say they're going to come into this one probably chomping at the bit a little bit. 3 straight losses at the King Cotton against really, really good competition, obviously. And like you said, they've proven they aren't afraid to play anyone, whether in the non-conference. And again, probably bring one of the best freshmen in the state, and Jay-Sean Hayes, into this one. So that should be a fun one. I think you'll learn again an opportunity to learn a lot about your team and see where they stand as we get ready. Because just a week later, we're going to jump right into conference play. And when we go at Jacksonville, right? We open conference play, is that right? Yeah. So, a week break before we jump into conference play in the brutal 5A Central. As usual, the 5A absolutely loaded. Starts right here in Central Arkansas with teams like Parkview, Sylvan Hills, Little Rock Christian, Benton. Give me your thoughts on the 5A Central this year.
It's going to be tough, just like every year. It's always tough. Of course, there have been a few kids that have left some of the schools that, have definitely made an impact, but those teams will still be extremely competitive. See you guys later. Thank y'all for coming out. I believe we're a top 4 team. I think we'll have a chance to make the state tournament. But when you, like I said, you look at, Parkview's a powerhouse. Year in, year out, they've got the best kids in Little Rock playing for them, and they're so big. I feel like our guards are probably better, but they've got so much size. I mean, I don't know that any of them can handle Nico, but that's just him, whereas they've got 3 guys that are 6'7", 6'9", something like that. Of course, then you got, like you said, the Little Rock Christian, Benton, Jacksonville, Christian Moore had left and came back, so that'll be big for them. Sylvan Hills, all of them. I mean, really, Hall is the only one that's really down. Everybody else anybody can beat you on any given night.
Well, and you look at Sylvan Hills. I mean, Sylvan Hills is a team that that I think everybody thought, okay, they're going to take a huge step back. And they may obviously have a little bit talent-wise, losing Nick and Corey, but they went out and beat Bryant last week. So, I mean, that's a big win for Sylvan Hills to be able to step up. And Bryant's not a great team, but it's a good 6A squad with some really good talent on that team. So, a little surprising to see Sylvan Hills go out. And so, again, it just goes to show just how good the 5A Central is going to be, a deep, talented conference. But you said we ought to be able to be one of the 4 best in there, and I think we can handle business. And Parkview, obviously, with their links, going to give problems. Creed Williamson over at Little Rock Christian's a name that most people will know. So just a good squad. And even Benton, as much as I don't like to give Benton credit, they seem to have a pretty decent squad coming out there as well.
Absolutely. And, the big thing is that with, your Sylvan Hills, your Jacksonvilles, Little Rock Christian, a lot of these teams are dependent on young guys, and so this non-conference has been good for them, whereas their record may not indicate really how good they are by conference play. They're going to be a lot better, now that they've gotten that experience, they've gotten a chance to play. Of course, Creed, like you mentioned, and Cam over at Benton, they've got seniors, but, they're not, loaded with like us. 8 of our 9 guys that dress varsity are seniors, and so we've got a lot of experience. I think that's an advantage for us big time. And then Parkview, they're the same way. You have quite a few seniors over there with a lot of guys with experience, and I think that it makes a difference, and so it'll be interesting to see.
So overall, 5A continues to show out. The defending state champion Jonesboro Hurricane have already played an impressive schedule, including a win over 6A North Little Rock. If you've had a chance to look at the rest of 5A, what are your thoughts on just how strong the league as a whole will be, not just the Central, but 5A in general? Because we've seen teams. I mean, Jonesboro's gone to Bristol, Tennessee for a tournament. They've played North Little Rock. They've been across. I think Marion's played in several big tournaments across. So everybody seems to be putting together a really pretty good non-conference slate. So obviously the 5A is going to be extremely strong again this year.
Absolutely. And every conference is the same. I mean, pretty much unanimous. If you look at high school sports to all the way to the pros, I mean, most conferences are top heavy. And I mean, people talked about the SEC being down this year because their bowl record, but the 2 best teams in the country are playing from the SEC. Yeah. So, it's one of those things. And it's the same in the 5A. You got Jonesboro, Marion from the west or from the east. Both of them are good enough to win a state championship. I mean, Jonesboro has an argument they're the best team in the state. Yeah. Definitely, right up there in the conversation for sure, if not the best. Got one of the best coaches. Coach Swift does a phenomenal job. You look in the South, Lake Hamilton and Pine Bluff, both are, they're right there. Again, good enough to win state. And then there's a few other solid teams, there that they could beat them on any given night. Could upset some teams in the state tournament. Maybe not good enough to beat 4, but still can make some noise in the state tournament. Over in the West, you've got Russellville. They're kind of young, but they've been putting some things together. They beat a good Conway team, right before we played one of those nights. And there are a few other good teams over there in the West, and then, like you said, in the Central with Parkview and Little Rock Christian and us, and a handful of others that are all good enough to make a run. A lot of it's about just clicking at the right time and getting the ball to bounce your way a time or two and hoping the officials like you a little bit. And so
Andy and I will do our best not to cause any issues there once we get back at home. So Andy swears he's going to catch a tech. I'll make sure we do it when we're up like 50 though.
I can guarantee that you guys are not going to outdo Coach Toombs, Coach Hall, Coach Lightfoot, Coach Stroud, Band-Aid. I mean, they all do a really good job of getting on the officials, and so that's why most of my time talking to the officials is apologizing for what they're saying to them. And Coach Coleman, he's done a real good job. He's more along my temperament as far as he doesn't get on the officials too hard, but give it some time, and I'm sure he'll be just like all the other assistants.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt at all. But this is news to these guys. But we decided we're going to mic him up come season time. Yeah.
As long as we turn it off during the timeouts and halftime.
Will's like, no, we're not. Will's like, that's another button I got to push, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, but again, really appreciate it. And again, it's a testament to how good the 5A is going to be and how difficult it's going to be to make that run, and how impressive it was last year to get where you guys got, and then to be right back in contention to do it again this year as we get ready for conference play. I know across the state, Maul is looked at as being one of the better teams in the state. We were looking at the rankings earlier, top 10 overall, number 3 in 5A, according to, I guess that's the Southwest Times or whoever puts that out. So, which is, from my understanding, about 15 different guys from around the state. So it's going to be fun. This is going to be a fun season to follow. This is a team that you're going to want to watch. I mean, I don't know of too many other teams out there that's put 100 points on the board twice in the non-conference. There's probably not too many of them. So you're going to get a good, fun, level of basketball being played. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I, for one, absolutely enjoy watching you guys play, and I know we enjoy being able to cover you guys.
I appreciate it. Yes, sir. That's kind of what we've built it on, is built our brand, I guess you could say. It's just being enjoyable. I'm all for the kids enjoying their high school experience and getting the most out of their opportunity to play the game of basketball, and we want it to be fun. Like I said, with everyone being so offensively driven these days, I don't know how they manage the kids that are wanting to score and play slow. Like, I mean, everybody doesn't get a chance to score that way, and then you got to deal with parents, and that's the worst part about the job. So I want to play as fast as we possibly can and let everybody get a chance to get theirs, and hope that we can keep as many people happy and win as many games as possible.
Well, so far so good. So we'll see. We get to get another opportunity at it tomorrow. So, Coach, that's going to do it for tonight for Hornets Live. And say thanks so much for joining us, as well as Nico and Riley. And I want to once again say thanks to Tamsy and her crew here at APP. Please get out and support our friends here and tell them thanks for being such great supporters of Maul Hornet Athletics. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see y'all tomorrow live from Whitehall starting at 6 p.m. Go Hornets.